Hello, welcome to Good Games Well Played, episode 183. I'm Clint, aka JCM. With this week is Isli.
Yo.
And Messiah.
Hello.
And it's quite a quiet news week. There's like a lot of, like, kind of like last week, where it's kind of like a mishmash of stuff, but it was a lot, but it's like smaller stuff. This is kind of like, okay, a lot of small stuff, but not a lot. And also stuff that really doesn't fit this group to talk about. Like, I always look at something, like I save it, and then I look and I'm like, why did I save this? None of us care. Like, there's no reason to talk about it. Like, I try to at least cover stuff that, either one of us has an interest in, or we're curious about, if it's a game or something like that. But that happens a lot with, like, this week, we're like, big news. I'm like, well, or like, if you're not here, Zaya, it's like, okay, if there's a big Nintendo game thing, then I'm like, okay, well, Isli doesn't play it and I don't play it, but maybe you do, or you're interested. I'm like, I'll just leave it out because you're not here. It's like, try to cater it to
the Nintendo person is gone, so we will not discuss.
Yeah. Like, one of the things that happened this week that was kind of light and not really a news piece either, was like Phil Spencer had an interview. Who was his interview with? It was, I'm trying to just double check so I can cite the sources. Oh man, I don't.
Angry baby.
I'm surprised you can hear him. I thought that was going to be cut off, but he's probably just upset about something. But Phil Spencer, essentially, he was talking about how, like, they're not opposed to, like, there's not necessarily a limit to what can jump from Xbox to PlayStation or other platforms. Like, yeah, duh, everybody knows that by now. Or like when he kind of alluded, like, he didn't say anything about the Microsoft handheld, but like he alluded to the potential of it. I'm like, yeah, he said that like a couple months ago as well, to, like, I think on an IGN podcast, like in an interview with them. Like, we know that they're probably looking at that because, like, hey, it's another way for, you have Xbox on everything. They probably wouldn't mind having, if they can have a nice cheap version of it to do that would be less than like a Series S, but I don't know how you're going to do that.
The best part about that announcement, and I know we'll get into it later, is probably just that they were like, yeah, we're working on this and it's not coming soon. It's coming in the next like handful of years. And I'm like, okay, so somewhere between 3 to 6 years away, you may or may not get this depending on the changing landscapes of consoles.
Exactly right. Like, they're looking at it, they're, doing market research. But
it was just such a nothing announcement.
Well, especially because it wasn't an announcement, like, it was a part of a question. So it's like, it's on the interviewer to be like, stop asking, like, you know what I mean? Like, asking questions like, hey, PS5 just had a Pro, are you going to do a Pro console? Like, that's relevant. It'll be like, you think you're ever going to do a handheld? And it'd be like, blah, blah, market things, this and that. It's like, it's not like they're coming out saying, hey, this year we're announcing we are investigating the potential of a possibility, depending on market research and interest, of maybe doing a handheld in 5 years. Like, they didn't do that. Like, so it's like, it's such a nothing news thing. Like, if it leaks and Jason Schreier gets the scoop, then ask about it. But like, to just ask out of nowhere, like, you guys gonna build a TV? Like, no. But you can't, but also because it's corporate, you can't say no. You just have to say, like, we're not currently doing that at this time.
Like, I was gonna say, that's such a corporate no.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just such a weird little interview. But keeping it with Microsoft, since they do have Blizzard now, is that there was a stealth release of Warcraft 1 and 2 remasters as part of the 30th anniversary of Warcraft. Obviously, they did the Warcraft 3 Reforged, which didn't go off well because, like, they tweaked too much and people were kind of not happy about it. But this is just like, hey, it's, just some visual upgrades, and you can change like some UI elements if you want for Warcraft 1 and 2. And I was like, okay, I'll have to like look and see how much they cost, because again, they just shadow dropped it. They didn't announce anything. And I played the hell out of like Warcraft 1 way back in the day. I didn't do much of 2, and I hardly touched 3 at all. But I played like Warcraft 1 a bunch. I'd be interested to go back and play like in that first one and just see how it feels nowadays. But yeah. And then the other, speaking of anniversaries, Half-Life 2's 20th anniversary happened this week. And as part of that, they released like a 2-hour documentary interviewing a bunch of people who were formerly at Valve and who are at Valve, talking about the development of that game. And I've only watched like about 50 minutes of it. But the other thing they did too is they added developer commentary tracks to Half-Life 2. Like, when they released Episode 1 and Episode 2 back in the day as part of the Orange Box, they had these really cool interactive dev commentary you can see. It's like these little floating bubbles, speech bubbles in the game. And you just go up and click on it, and they tell you like about the scene that you're in, do commentary there. So it was like segmented to where you were to give you specific commentary, not just talk about something, further on. And I always thought that was really cool, and I wish more games did that, and I wish they had it for the main game, and now they finally do. So I thought that was pretty awesome. And then they've also added some visual overhauls as well. They fixed some, I guess, long-standing bugs. I'd be curious what those were because I don't remember.
At this point, why?
I don't know. I guess it's like, hey, let's just come in. Maybe it's like something they always wanted to do, but they just never did. And like, you know what? Let's finally do that. But I don't remember any. I've played Half-Life 2 a bunch. I don't remember any like outstanding bugs.
Am I crazy? Didn't they release like a big expansion for Half-Life 2 or like one of the older version, not expansion, like a big update for it was like Half-Life 2, Team Fortress, or one of the older Valve games, but everyone was really looking forward to it. And it came out like last year or 2 years ago. I need to look up what this was.
They released The Lost Coast, but that was a while ago. That was like cut content. That was ways back. They did like I think they did maybe like an RTX upgrade. I know this has also probably got a refresh of an RTX upgrade to make it look better. But they've done like high quality assets and stuff like that. But I guess the most that I played Half-Life 2 was on PlayStation. So maybe the bugs were primarily on PC, and that's why I didn't see too many of them. Because I don't think I've played a full playthrough on PC. It was always on PlayStation. But yeah, I just thought it was kind of funny, like, hey, go there. But yeah, the documentary, it's like, it's always fun to see that it's high quality stuff, just talking to everybody that's there. Mark Laidlaw is there as well. So it's interesting stuff. I'm looking forward to finishing up the rest of it. And then I thought, like, I should download that update and check out Half-Life 2 again, because it's been a long time since I've played it. But it's interesting that they show a bunch of cut content of what was going to be as part of Half-Life 3. I thought that was really curious. Like, they talk a lot about that early on, which was interesting.
Can't wait for all the Half-Life 3 coming back rumors now.
Yep.
Way to stir that up.
Yeah. And then the last bit of news I have is that Atomfall got a release date for March 27th, 2025. This, of course, from Rebellion, who does Sniper Elite. I'm looking forward to that game. I feel like that's a pretty good end of Q1 position for it.
Yeah.
I feel like we talk about this all the time. Like, new IP I feel like, does really well in like Q1. But then it's like we get some years where it's like, oh, now everything comes out. Like, we had that 1 year a while back where it's like everything was coming out Q1. But then as we got closer, things got delayed. Like, oh, we're going to delay this. So it's not in there. Like, Forspoken got delayed out of that time frame from February to a later month. And then, yeah, they're like, okay, it's a little crowded in here, especially if like a big player comes in and releases in that time frame. Then I'm like, yep, nope, we're going to move. But and yeah, the only other thing I saw is I forgot to talk about it a couple weeks ago, but Forever Skies, which is currently in early access, originally was going to come out of early access in 1.0 this year and launch on PlayStation as well. And I was really looking forward to the console release. I played it in early access for about 10, 11 hours, had a good time with it, spoke about the problems I had with the progression and whatnot. But I missed that they had posted at the end of October that they're now moving the 1.0 release to early 2025. And the reason that they're doing that is because they're doing a major progression overhaul. And that's like something I talked about a lot, where it felt like, hey, it needs to be a little more streamlined. And they're saying, no, we want to ease some of the regular resource bottlenecks and provide more options for players. Like, there's handcrafting now, which allows you to make stuff without needing the fabricator on the ship. And I'm sure it'll be like limited, but like, that's something like, I'll talk about it later in my replaying of Subnautica. But I'm like, man, I really wish I could craft some things just in my hands. And that in Forever Skies was definitely like, hey, this would be nice if we can just craft it here and not have to go back to the crafting station. They also want to change, like, the world's very procedural, but they're going to change it to actually have biomes, which I think is really cool. I'm like, I feel like you could have still like procedural buildings in each of the biomes, but having like specific biomes, I think would be really interesting. I mean, that's what makes, like, I like about Subnautica. It's like, hey, there's this biome has this biome has this. You know what to look for there, especially on subsequent playthroughs of stuff versus just having everything be randomized. It's like, yeah, just make little biomes. So, you can always have an artistic design for how you want things to be and place them out, but still have aspects of it be randomized. Like, there's no issue with that. But yeah, there are also a bunch of other things they want to fix. There's a big old list you can check out on their Steam page they posted, but they're also adding co-op to it, which I thought was really cool. I don't remember if co-op was announced when they announced the PlayStation release, but I'll be really curious to see how co-op goes in that game. Because I was talking about that while playing some, I was like, I really want to play like a co-op survival game. Especially because I've been watching so much of the Viva la Dirt League survival logic videos. I'm like, man, I want to, but I not something like Don't Starve Together, but like I kind of want to play like a first person one, but not like Rust, but like there was a game I saw a while ago.
I can't think of two. I'm sure there's a ton, but I'm like, aside from Subnautica, I'm trying to think of like recent first person survival games. You've got like Forest, Sons of the Forest.
Yeah, there was a game that came out that was not. I wish I remember what it was called because I had it and I didn't put it on my wish list. Unfortunately, it was on like Steam had a sale. It was like, hey, there's like a survival sale or something like that, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And I was like, I was looking into it because I was trying to figure out like, hey, should I play this? And I can't remember what it was called, but it had like mixed reviews initially because it was kind of like, not kind of bare bones when it came out, and then they added a bunch of updates to it later. But it does this thing where like you land down on it's first person. You land on a planet and like you have to build up to stuff, but they have like you go out on missions. Like you prep like, hey, we need to go do this mission. And it's kind of like I don't know if they're necessarily story missions or just like objective missions to get a new resource, but it is co-op, and I know a lot of people liked that bit about it. And I wish I could remember what it was called. But yeah, it was when I saw that I was like, oh, this would be fun to do. The only problem there is like, okay, yeah, it'd be fun to play it, but there's just no time. Like no one has time to get together.
It needs to be like an intelligent way to save progress when it's a co-op survival game like that.
I think it might be Icarus is what I'm thinking of. I was trying to go through. I think it's. Oh, I think that one of the issues I think some people had was there were some things that were added to the game as part of expansions, and people were a little annoyed that like I don't like that some of the fun stuff is locked behind some of the later packs, but it's got mostly positive reviews. And then the recent ones are very positive, and that's what I was talking about. Like early on, it had kind of mixed reviews, but Icarus was the name of the game. That's a multiplayer game. It's from Rocket Works. Came out in the end of 2021, and I was looking at that. I was like, oh, this could be really fun to play. It looks like it has some fun monstrous aggression. I should check this out and just play it solo, see how it goes. But yeah, it's like, man, I kind of want to play a PvE survival game with some folks. That'd be fun. Or just wait till Sons of the Forest comes out on console and finally not have time to play it together with you. but yeah, so yeah, I'm looking forward to Forever Skies. I like I said, I talked about it before. Like I'm really curious how it would be if they could make some of those big changes, and it sounds like they are taking a lot of those changes. Maybe they listen to the podcast. No, I'm just kidding. But it'll be nice to see that progress overhaul and interested to see how the new biomes go. Because I saw the potential there for the Subnautica in the Air game. But yeah, they definitely got to streamline some of that early stuff. But yeah, that's kind of it for news. Like I said, there was some other things I just didn't tag because it didn't matter. None of us play COD, so we don't care about that. None of us are playing Mortal Kombat, so we don't care about Ghostface and lore stuff. But I just left it all out of there. But yeah, that'll do it for the news bits. We can go ahead and jump into what we've been playing. Go ahead and start with Zai. You streamed. So I saw you stream standing around for an hour in FF14 waiting to play the raid. And then I saw you do a little bit of the raid. What a coincidence.
And then I saw her stream standing around for an hour after presumably playing the raid.
I saw a lot of floor laying down.
Oh, yeah.
Classic.
My friend laid on the floor. We watered him.
Yeah, I saw that, and then also a lot of death during the Archangels.
Yeah.
How did that go? Why was there such a long queue for that? Was it just like, is it like dynamics, like you had to wait, or was it just like you were looking for other party members?
Just looking for other party members, which is ironic because we only needed one person.
Yeah, you need like a damage dealer, right?
To fill our party. But I think it's just because a lot of people are maybe doing it, or people probably did it when patch came out, or they were waiting for the weekend. But one of our friends was saying that they did it earlier in the week and they had to wait like an actual hour to get in. Ours was only maybe like 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes for the queue. I'm not sure why it was so long, but
so you're just waiting for everybody to get on. That's why you guys were standing around.
Yeah. So long? We did the quest. I was waiting for one of our friends was doing the quest as well.
Oh, okay.
He came in and joined. It was like the person that was heading the party basically had to do the quest, and then we went ahead and waited, and then we finally got in, and it was really just me, my friend Dag, and my friend Alexi crying through the whole thing and going, oh my god, look at this, oh my god, look at that, oh god. and just being too distracted by things to actually do any of the mechanics.
Yeah, it was fun seeing like running around Juno. Just you're like, oh, this doesn't look like I remember. They remodeled the place. They added chairs.
It's all like fucked up. Yeah.
Yeah. But,
It goes through like the beginning or the entrance of Juno. Then it takes you takes you to the Boyata tree, takes you to Sky, and then the Loft Amphitheater, and then where did it go after that? Oh, it went to Zaval after that, right? I think. Yeah. The Archangels, I don't even know what was going on in that fight. It was very, very cool the way they did it, how they kind of like split it up and then they all come in at the end. But I'm very used to doing that fight standing on the stairs, raising people, refreshing people. I was like, I need to go over there. I don't belong here.
mm-hmm.
It was very cool though. It was very, very cool.
Yeah, it seemed like it'd be pretty nostalgic. Were all of the because they do the thing where it's like, oh, it's like a goblin puppet. I forget what they called them. But it's just like stone things. My God, that doesn't look like a goblin. Like I was hoping it would look like the gobbies because they have those goblins in the game, right? Like in 14, aren't the goblins? Don't they look a lot? Don't they have the ones that look a lot like the FF11 goblins?
Oh yeah, the little gobbies.
I'm surprised they weren't there. I feel like it would have fit for playing that kind of game. Just keep them but make you color them in the normal color scheme that they were in 11, I suppose, or give them like RSE from 11. But
there was, I guess at the beginning of the raid, I guess because technically there's no obviously mobs in Juno, so they just added the Dynamis mobs, and they did like a mix of the Dynamis theme. But it was kind of cool going through the other areas, having like some popular NMs or like just kind of trash mobs in there, and just like mobs that you would find in those areas. Like we were running through Sky and just happened to talk about like, oh, we gotta farm waters and then go find Despot, and then we ran up the stairs and there was Despot. It's like, oh, there he is, get him. So that was very cool. I totally forgot that at the end of the raid I wanted to run back through and kind of look at everything. My friend ran back through and they found a lot of really cool Easter eggs. So next time I do it, at the end of the raid, I'm gonna go to the beginning of it and just kind of like walk through it and look at stuff. So that's gonna be really fun. But I'm really excited to see what the next two tiers are going to be. They kind of hinted at maybe either the next area or the culmination will be Walk of Echoes, which is horrifying because the only times I did Walk of Echoes in 11, it was a massacre, and it was basically just a lot of people running around, dying and getting mobbed by things, and it was just a really bad time. So yeah, I'm really curious what areas are going to be in the next updates and what other character. We were kind of speculating on like what other characters are going to appear, maybe as bosses or just kind of like as cameos. It'd be really cool if I can't remember the younger brother's name, but like Kamlanal would be super cool. I basically laid down a line and said if I have to do a Prometheon, that's where I stop the quest. I want no part of it. I don't want to do that again ever. So yeah, it was super, super cool. And I do need to run it a lot because at the end of the raid, there are kind of like, you get rewards for your specific party, but at the very end, you also get a treasure box that's shared with the whole alliance. And in their box, there's these little like items, which are tattered music scrolls. And you take those into Lower Juno and turn them in for orchestrion roles so that you can play music like in your house or in your apartment or your inn or whatever like that. And
Is it all Final Fantasy 11 music?
It's all Final Fantasy 11 music,
Oh,
and I need all of them. So I'm gonna have to be running it a lot to get all of those.
Is it the same, or are they kind of like remixed, more updated? Like, is it kind of like, I guess, like a remaster or remake kind of situation? Like, obviously, it's not the same audio files and what have you, but is it like, hey, we just re-recorded it 1-to-1 versus we kind of played with the medleys a little bit?
I don't think there's any remixes in it, because at the very, very end of the raid, once you kill the final boss and you come out of the cutscene, it plays the Vana'diel march, but it's just the straight up march from the original like opening or whatever, like the login screen. So I think it's just original music. It may be a little bit updated just so it sounds a little bit better, but I mean the music already sounded good to begin with, so I think it's just the straight up music.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, because I was curious. I was trying to listen when you guys also went in, like to see if the zone music was a play on, Juno. But I was like, well, when you're fighting, you're always you gotta do battle music. And I'm like, I don't know how you battlefy Juno if they did anything for that. But
To be honest, during the boss fights, I wasn't super paying attention to the music, just because it was so chaotic and people were talking. But I know that when we went into the Boyata tree and we're pulling the trash mobs, grouping them up to get through them, it was playing like the 11 battle music. I believe the Chains of Promanthea music, I think somebody pinpointed it exactly. But I couldn't remember exactly. But I mean, considering how much time I spent in Zeta to farm things and like level up things, that music is like ingrained in my head, and I know this music. It's bringing back a little bit of trauma, but I know it.
nice. I didn't realize you go to the Boyata tree. That's cool. Yeah, because
The
that's a
Beata
very
tree,
classic.
like, the boss in that area is Fafnir,
Oh, nice.
and there's so much going on in that fight. I don't think I learned anything going through it.
I did catch that because there was that one like stack up animation I saw. I was like, that's an interesting stack up animation.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't realize that was in Boyata Tree.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it kind
That's
of
cool.
you transport it, and it's kind of like you're technically in Zeta, and then you're like running through, and it kind of changes to Boyata Tree, and then you fight Fafnir in the Dragon's Eyrie. Of course, it's like
Nice.
modified a little bit because it has to be a little arena or whatever, but it was very cool. It's so cool. I'm so excited for when they do more, but it's going to be like they always add it when they do the big patches, so it's going to be like 4 months before the next one comes out. That's upsetting.
It looked really cool from what I saw. The
It's
floor,
very,
at
very
least.
cool. Yeah, spent a lot of time on the floor.
Yeah. yeah. I was like, oh, here we go, classic. Classic. I mean, you're learning. You never know.
Honestly, I was laughing when I logged in and everyone was just standing around because I was like, classic Juno.
Yep,
You just
yep,
kind of stand there. You just stand there and wait for things.
Maybe do some crafting. Back when there was only zone shouting, not all shouting. So you're like, well, everyone's shouting here. Let's see what they're doing. No one's shouting in over here. And then eventually they patched it to be like, hey, they're in Port Juno. Hey, they're in Upper Juno. Hey, they're here. So
I was really hoping I would log in during a raid and just see like Zaya in the corner of Sky, like the Kieran fight where everyone just kind of stands off to the side. I was really hoping I would log in and just see her like sitting in a corner waiting for her turn to like do one attack and then she's kicked out again.
Yeah,
that was very much like when we zoned in, and when you change areas, it kind of like pops up the name of the area before it actually fully loads. At least on my computer, it does that. And it said off amphitheater, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna stand up here. And then everybody kept running forward. I was like, no, you don't go down. No, you stay up here. It's safe up here.
Yeah, because like, I want to go back on the stairs.
Yeah, I'm a red mage. I could belong on the stairs.
Yeah. It was fun to watch. Like to see all that older. It's like, oh, it's a nice little nostalgia hit.
And they do look gorgeous. They look like, obviously they've been a little bit tweaked or remade to fit the 14's like raid progression and how you move through the area, but like they didn't just kind of import the models. They looks like they built them from the ground up, and with the new graphics update, it just looks absolutely gorgeous. Like you zone into Sky and you kind of like fall down to see like the big tower in the background. It's just so fucking cool. It's like, I know it doesn't look like this in 11, but in my brain it looks like this, and it's very pretty.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, that's cool. And then you zoned outside into was that Rolandberry Fields that leads up to it, and there's just someone out there leveling up their summoning.
Yeah.
They got it on a macro. They're just AFK, casting Carbuncle, dismissing Carbuncle, casting Carbuncle, dismissing Carbuncle.
Basically, yeah. The actual quests have so many little like cute Easter eggs and little nods to that. Like, there's a moment where when you're done with the raid and you go actually into Lower Juno as like an area you can zone into, and you're walking around with Preesh, and she's kind of like telling you about certain things, and you're talking to NPCs and stuff, and you go up to the auction house, and she's like, that's weird that it's closed. And she mentions like, well, sometimes if it's closed, you can usually find people outside peddling their wares. And I was like, the Rolandberry Black Market.
Yeah. You like go out to you're like, I need to what's that one zone that's oh god, the zone that's it leads over to like not the one that goes to Quiffam Island, but the one that's like it's like where everybody parked their mules for trading.
It was different from server to server, but it was either Battaglia Downs or
Battaglia Downs. There we
Yeah.
go. Yeah, that's where it was for on our server. It was always just you go out there and it's like, oh man, I am lagging like crazy because it has to load in all the characters that are in the spot. It's like, all right, I guess that's the way to go. It's like, sure, I suppose we'll just do it here. But,
Yeah, it was super cool. The little things. There's like a shade NPC in Lower Juneau that's like looking for party dragoon. I was like, that's a direct attack on my person.
That's
and
funny.
I don't appreciate it.
Oh, that's awesome. So they have like little shades that are saying stuff that are like people would say in 11.
Yeah, there's a moment where
Sniper rings +1.
Oh,
yeah,
hat run.
exactly. There's a moment where you're walking around with NPCs again, and with Prishan, another NPC that's part of the quest line, and you're actually in a 14 area. You take them to Tuliolol, which is the new area for Dawn Trail, and you're kind of looking out on the beach, and Prisha's like, "Oh, this is really cool." And the NPC's just like, "Every time I see a beach, I just think of trying to farm magic skulls," and I was like, "Oh God, we need to leave now immediately."
There's like poor shadows in Quiffam Island trying to get the drop from all the leeches so they can become a summoner.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I need the jewel.
Yeah, this little stuff like that is super, super cool. Seeing like there's an NPC in Lower Juneau that's dressed like a thief, and every time you talk to her, she's just asking you about like what treasures you got. I'm like,
Nice.
Okay, calm down.
Yeah, I think about that, like, you know how like Assassin's Creed games recently have had that thing where it's like they have the educational thing where you can like go around and learn about stuff. Like that'd be, I mean, they wouldn't be able to, would probably take too much resources. It would be fun, like even if it was just like an empty world, but it's like, hey, here's some high res assets we put into this, brought it over, and you could just run around all of Vana'diel. There's no enemies, there's no quests, there's no nothing. It's just like a virtual tour. It's like that would be kind of cool. Like here's the crags, here's all this stuff, here's, you know, Qualm Dome, Gustav Tunnel, you know, all this stuff. It's like, hey, just run around. Then you can like safely run around like the deserts and whatnot and be like, okay, I'm not going to get attacked in Volcrum by anything that's trying to kill me.
I'm not going to train the gobbies through the tunnel and die on the other end.
That's right. That's right. This is where everybody used to farm angel skins. Down over here, we used to all fish and you try to get the aggro. But yeah, that'd be fun to do.
There's lots of little cool things that they've included, like little nods that anybody who hasn't played 11 would just be like, oh, cool, lore. And people who do play 11 are like sobbing in the corner, like, I remember.
Yeah, it'd also be cool to have like a tour thing like that because there's so many places in 11 that like outside of MSQs or Nation Quests, like you typically never go back to. Mm-hmm. Like I haven't been through Castles of All Baileys or the Keep or up to the Throne Room or run around Zarkabart that much outside of just like, hey, helping someone do a quest. Like it'd be nice to just be able to go back to those places like, you know, oh yeah, this is kind of when you do your Genkai unlock, you got to go here, or you're, you know, got to go to Castle Ostroja to run around and get through the stuff. Oh, if you're a thief, you can flee and you can do all the torches by yourself, you know, yada yada. Like just to explore that kind of stuff would be fun to do.
I would really love if they do some kind of like in the next raid, if they do a little area kind of like in Gerlage Citadel, where all the parties have to stand on little pressure plates to open the door.
Nice. That'd be funny.
That was like the party's responsibility. If you're camped up there leveling and somebody comes through, you have to stand on the plates.
You have to stand there and open them. Yeah.
Yeah. They go down the circuit.
Just AFK down there. What? And didn't they had there was like that place in, I think it was like whatever was below Volcrum. Or no, there was like one underground tunnel place where they had weight plates, but you had to have like different combinations of races in order to actually do it. Like a Galka could do some, and Taros you needed to like, okay, you got to have like 3 or 4 of them in order to actually get the pressure plate down.
Yes, I don't remember what it was called, but yeah, I remember.
Yeah, I feel like that's, I want to say maybe Gustav, but that doesn't look right. But yeah, there's like, that'd be funny if they had those. Like, okay, we need the proper weight distribution in order to be able to unlock this path.
Or the mage door in Winders, you had to have one of each of the mages to open the door to get into the canal.
Yeah, yeah. Like these little things that you probably only ever do once because of some quest, and then you never like they're typically always related to nation quests, and you just never do them again. But yeah, that's fun. So how much I might have missed it when you said it, but how much of this kind of 11 crossover content did they plan on having? You said there's more coming, but did they have like a roadmap?
They probably have a roadmap out. I haven't looked exactly to see right about when they're going to release stuff, but usually when they do these alliance raids, there's 3 tiers to them. So there's going to be Juno the first walk, and then we're assuming that the next tiers are going to be the second walk and third walk. We just don't know what areas they're going to be yet. So there's always going to be 3 raids as part of the whole alliance thing, and then of course there's going to be quests in between it and stuff like that, and there may be like a final wrap-up quest, I guess. Once you finish it, it'll be that, but it's basically just going to be a really long quest chain, and there's going to be 3 alliance raids for it. There might be like a solo trial in there somewhere where you kind of go in and do like a fight with NPCs and stuff like that. I catch a thread under the window, sorry. But I don't know. I mean, even with this one, they didn't have a specific date until it got closer. So they'll usually just say like, oh, this is coming in summer or fall or winter. But typically whenever they do, like this came out with 7.1. So I imagine when they do 7.2, it's going to be the next chunk of it. And then 7.3 will be the last chunk of it.
Okay.
Because they do also introduce the 8-man raid tiers at the same time. So those ones come out in chunks of 4 fights. So the first 4 fights are out now. The next 4 fights will be whenever they do the next big update, and then the last 4 will be with that as well. So sometimes they alternate, and sometimes they'll release them at the same time. It just, I guess, kind of depends on how the development of them are going.
Yeah, it's quicksand caves. What's the name of the island that you can take a boat to? I feel like it's near Kazam in the Ilshimo lowlands, and it's like there's an island that you would go to like level up at like 71 to 75. Babiki Bay. That's the bay. And then what's the island that you go to in Babiki Bay? Do you remember? Like there's no reason typically to go there. But like,
Bay.
Yeah, there's like an island, but I forget what was on it. I was trying to look at a world map, but they don't have it for some reason.
Final Fantasy XI podcast.
Yeah, we're doing trivia right now. We're trying to figure out the Babiki Bay.
I'm going to get up for a second, but I have my headset mic on, so it doesn't matter. I have an atlas, like a physical atlas for
the Kolshushu region.
Do you ever think there's going to be a game that you talk about us as well as much as Final Fantasy XI? Because I don't.
I doubt it.
I feel like it hit it just the right amount of time. Yeah, like it hit it just the right amount of time of like high school life-ish or high school-ish, somewhere around there. But that you could no life the game, and there weren't like other comparable things aside from WoW. So if you played it, you were kind of like you were really into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was basically that in WoW, and I never played WoW, so it's like, oh, this is a concept art book. Where's my atlas?
Yeah, I see like Babiki Bay and Burumu Peninsula, but I don't see them. Oh, it's the Perga. Oh my god, no wonder I don't know. It's the Perga Norgo Isle.
Oh.
I don't remember it being called that, but sure, whatever. But you take
I don't know if I ever went to that, except
I used to go there a lot. Just AFK
What was the PvP, like the first PvP thing that you could do? We went out and did PvP there one time, but I don't think I ever went out there for anything else.
Yeah, see, it's only accessible in Mana Clipper and through the enchantment of a body pieces obtained during Sunbreeze festivals. Many of the bounties in aquaculture, including the magical and large shellfish known as Uragnite, remained untouched. Yeah, I don't see... You have Promathia missions that lead you there, and there's a couple quests, like the search for Goldmane, general quests, yada yada. Nothing special. I don't see anything. NPCs, not too many NPCs. There's a couple NMs there, but yeah, I don't know why you would event monsters. There's a mandragora and a humanoid. Yeah, I guess that's part of the thing. But yeah, I used to go there just to be like, it was like a nice little area because like no one would go there. I mean, there was a while there where after Ottergon, like once Ottergon came out, it was like no one went to Babiki Bay to level up anymore. Like and then level sync was there, so it's like there's no reason to go there specifically for like that 71 to 75 range. Like, so no one went there. Like they lost the business is all shut down because everyone moved away to the new town. So I was like, I just want to take the mana clipper and go to this little island and it was just nice, just hang out at this little place.
I know. I
But-
don't think I ever, like I said, I don't think I ever leveled there. I'm pretty sure I only ever went there to do like PvP stuff because there was a PvP that you could do there.
Hmm.
If I remember correctly. There was one in the marshlands. There was one in one of the fields. I can't remember which one. And then there was one there.
Yeah,
I can't remember exactly.
Vonzanzo. Yeah, I was looking at all the maps here. The Maze of Shakrami. But yeah, but that whole Vicky Bay region. It felt like it was, by the time I got there, it felt like that was the end of the life of that zone. Like there was no reason to go there anymore. Like it was just a vestigial region that fell off eventually. But yeah, you'll have to stream more of that 11 content. Is that everything? Did you guys do all of it? Was that all that stuff that you did last night or the other night?
That was all of the quest stuff that they have.
Okay.
Yeah. So obviously I'll be doing the raid
Yeah,
more because I want those scrolls, and we do it every week anyway to get armor drops from it. So the armor you can only get once a week for a certain amount of time, and then once the next tier comes out, they'll usually move that lockout to the next tier, and then you can get it whatever. But I'll probably be doing it just to do it. So I think every time I decide to run it or anything like that, I'll probably stream it for a little bit just for funsies.
Yeah.
I forgot I had this concept art book. This is neat. I'm glad I bought this.
We're reminding Zai about
first
stuff
time looking at it in
Yep.
years.
Get the dust off.
Ooh, this is kind of neat. Look what I purchased.
I knew I had this atlas because I used this, like actually used it before, because I originally started playing on the PS2. So before I started playing on PC and using the wiki and stuff, I used this like physical atlas as like a map and stuff to get around the areas.
Yeah. I used like having like a world maps to places. I think I only ever hung up one of them, but I forget which one it was. Because like a lot of games back then, like anytime we got like a box, semi-collector edition or something, it's like, oh, here's the map of this entire zone. Here's the map of this. Here's the Witcher map. Here's, but I'd never hang it up. There was one that I put up that I just wish I could remember what it was. That was many apartments ago. So I don't recall. But yeah, that's good. Yeah, hopefully, like I said, you stream some more of it and I'll tune in. And I forgot you're even live. I think I saw it on a social media post that you're like, oh, I'm live. I was like, oh, because I guess I was like, oh, I don't have you followed on Twitch. Like, I guess that makes sense because you weren't streaming that I didn't do any follows, so I didn't even notice you were live because I was watching someone else.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but
I wasn't initially planning to stream the actual raid because I wasn't sure if my computer was going to handle it, because the tests that I did, it was like getting really laggy at the end. But I tweaked a couple settings and I left my browser closed just in case it's sucking up my RAM and my CPU and stuff, and it seemed to do okay.
yeah, I mean, it didn't look too bad.
Issue, but
It got a little blocky, but I think that's because there was like a lot of stuff on screen. That's kind of the trade-off. Like I was trying to look at like, okay, if you don't have like partners, so you get that, higher bit rate, usually they're like, okay, if you're going to stream something that's fast-paced 60 with lots of stuff, it's usually better to stream at 720p. That way it looks clearer when things are in motion. But if it's a slower game, and I'm like, well, I don't really want to do that, I'll just leave it. Because like, I forget what I was playing. Oh, when I was playing like Sons of the Forest, like that game would like, if I start running through the trees, like it gets a little blocky. I'm like, all right, bit rate's taking a dive. I'm like, oh, just stream at 720. I was like, I don't know if I initially wanted.
that's a lot of like settings that I have to tweak and figure out. That's some math that I have to do. I'm not interested.
Yeah.
And I guess you could do that like enhanced thing where you can change it, but I don't know. I feel like it should just do that anyway.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Oh, what else? All right, I guess go to Isli. I haven't seen you talk about anything in Discord. What are you playing?
I saw you playing Dredge, so I went back and started a game again since something happened to my old save. So I played through Dredge and tried out the DLC for Dredge, which, I liked Dredge the first time around playing it. I really like that the DLC is accessible pretty early on, which was kind of cool. I got the alternate ending that I, didn't get the first time, but no, I think Dredge is a great game. It's very chill. It's like a fun fishing game. I really enjoy how the DLC is kind of interspersed with the actual main storyline, so that you can play the DLC kind of simultaneously while you are playing the normal game itself, which is nice, and it made the second playthrough a little bit different. The one DLC has you go to like an Arctic region, which is basically just like, you've got your 4 main regions around your central town.
Mhm.
And the Arctic region is just a 5th kind of central region, which I really liked. It's kind of fun. It's a little bit different. You get new pieces of equipment. There's like different ways you can fish. You need the ice fishing rods and ice fishing requirements, but it's basically just like, it's a 5th area. So that one is kind of just expanding on the normal game, and it's really nice because if you like the normal game, this is just a new area similar to the normal game.
Mm-hmm.
The second DLC, the Iron Rig, is one that kind of changes all of the existing islands a little bit, and it makes them just a little bit different. And that one is fun as well, but is definitely meant to be played kind of like... it's meant to be played and like you're in the latter half of the game and you're maybe going back looking for missing fish or, missing aberrations or completing pursuits, things like that. I don't think it's meant to be played right from the get-go, specifically because it introduces new equipment that's much more powerful.
Yeah.
So it's like you need the level of progress. Otherwise, you jump right to the most powerful stuff that's fairly easy to earn. So it's kind of like, well, don't go there right away or you'll spoil things for yourself. But still fun. I had the Dave the Diver DLC turned on, which introduces new weather effects, which was kind of cool to play through with it. But yeah, all things considered, is just, fun game. Wanted to play through it. Very chill, pretty short game, but definitely worth buying. And I think it used to be on sale. I don't know if it's on sale anymore, but the DLC was like $10 for all of the DLC together, which was great.
Yeah, that sale ended on the 12th. I just was like, oh damn it, I meant to go back and buy it, but now it's just on my list to get.
Yeah, it was like super cheap for it, so great deal.
Yeah.
But played Dredge, and then I finished Dredge, and now I'm kind of I don't know why, but I was flipping through my old games, and we were talking about Core Keeper, and I was going to download Core Keeper and buy Core Keeper, and then somehow I ended up playing Stardew Valley. So I don't know how that worked, but like I've played Stardew Valley before, but like I went down this rabbit hole of, I could play a new survival game. Oh, Core Keeper's kind of cute. And then I was like, man, I've never finished Terraria either, which was also a great game, and I really loved that. And then I was like, Terraria or Core Keeper, I could download either one of those. And then like cut to an hour later, and I'd started up a new farm from Stardew Valley because they had the 1.6 patch, and I'm like, I guess I'm playing this now.
That's funny. Yeah, I was wondering, like, hey, he's not talking about Core Keeper. I guess maybe he didn't pick it up.
I did buy it because it's on sale as well right now. I just was kind of laughing because I'm like, well, I guess we're playing Core Keeper or we're playing Stardew first. They introduced new mechanics, and every time they patch that game, it's always like a major patch. So playing, I think it's 1.6.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But
have you ever played the Stardew expanded thing, like the mod or whatever?
No, because I've only played it on Switch.
Okay.
And then I did download it for PlayStation, and I'm playing through right now on PlayStation, testing out Portal with it, just because I played Dredge on Portal, and they had I don't know, some ways back they had a Portal firmware update that I think fixed most of my issues with Portal. I had lots of lag on it for a while, despite playing like in the same room as my PlayStation with good Wi-Fi, and they released a software patch, I don't know, ways back. So I pulled out the Portal and was playing Dredge, and it worked fine. It was great.
Nice.
But no, what is the expanded?
I guess it's like a big community mod thing that adds like another area. It adds extra NPCs. There's like a town you can go to, I think, like a different town you can go to. You can get different farms and stuff. I don't know. I've never really like deeply looked into it, but I see a lot of people usually when like a big patch comes out, they'll play through the big patch a little bit, and then they'll play like the expanded version of that patch. I haven't played Stardew in a long time. Maybe I should pick that up.
Yeah. Stardew's great.
Yeah, I see anytime there's like an update, there's always folks on some other podcasts listen to that are always like, I'm back on my Stardew.
Yeah.
I'm like, yep, it must be that time. Must have an update out.
It's they're always like sizable patches. He's one of those people that every patch kind of changes the game. It's like No Man's Sky, where every patch changes the game in a drastic enough way that if you were to start fresh and play through it again, your playthrough experience is going to be different. They aren't like I feel like a lot of games when they patch, it's, stability or added one new quest or something like that. And there's not really a reason to like go back and play again based on a patch. But every Stardew thing always changes how you actually play the game.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny because like they change how you play the game. Like you're talking about, like it's a lot of people or a lot of games feels like now are doing like Overwatch just started doing the Overwatch Classic, where you can play the OG 6v6 original heroes. I think they're called heroes. Original abilities and all that stuff for like next 3 weeks. Like they have to queue up, and I know someone I watch on Twitch, like they went back and played some of it, and then like Apex has done that where they bring back like, oh, the OG very first map with only the legends that were available and the guns as they were at that time, be them OP or not. And then like I'm trying to think who else has done that recently. So another Fortnite's doing it. They're going to do it again, but bring it back as like a full-time thing. Like they say it's the OG map, but when they did that last time, it wasn't the OG map. It was like the season 1 map. It wasn't the original map. Like it had tilted towers and all the other stuff. I'm like, that wasn't there. That wasn't the original map, man. Like, the original map was bare fucking bones. Like there was nothing on that map, which is why when Tilted and everything came out, it's like they added so many points of interest that like really made the game so much better. Like it was so sparse that first map. I'm like, that's not OG. You're wrong. But
it's like they wanted to add the OG map, and then they went back and actually looked at it and were like, ooh, let's actually not.
Yeah, it'd be fun because they also want to like move up through, do kind of like the WoW Classic thing where like they keep releasing the next update. Like, oh, here's the next update. Here's the next update. So I could see it'd be kind of cool if they did something like, here's the actual original map, and then like it's there for like a week or something like that to kick off, or a couple days to kick off them, and then it's like, okay, now we'll do the season 1 map that'll run for like a week, and then it's the season 2 or the next season's map, and then the next. So you see like the comet come destroy or land destroy the warehouse buildings, creates the crater, everything's gone. You get the cube that showed up and everything that went into the loot lake and turned it into a bouncy pad and all that cool stuff that happened in those first couple seasons. Man, there's like some crazy shit that happened in Fortnite, those first ones.
You used to be really into it and talk about it a lot, of all the like random events that occurred. I feel like I haven't heard you talk about that in a while.
I mean, I stopped playing Fortnite when Apex came out because I was like, I couldn't play PUBG because I didn't have a PC. And then they released Fortnite on PlayStation, later in that same year. So I played like season 0 of Fortnite, and then with my cousin, and it was just, free game. It was a ton of fun. Stuck with it. I put so many hours into that game. I wish I had an hour counter. I probably put more than Oni in that game.
Do you wish you had an hour counter?
I would love to know how. I know I spent a lot of money in that game. I got a lot of skins and purchased the battle passes, but I had
spent a lot of money. I might as well know how long I played it.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, kids. I was the whale. You're lucky. I mean, I didn't buy the skeleton skin for Halloween. That was absurd. But yeah, I was there, man. At the start, and then yeah, once Apex came out. When they dropped that, and again, that was also free to play. It's like, okay, I prefer first person, and there's no building. Like they didn't have the no build mode for Fortnite just yet. And then I forget when did Warzone or Black Ops? I think Blackout Battle Royale. I'm trying to remember when that came out. Because I think at the time, like a lot of people who I played Fortnite with, they moved to. Oh, this doesn't help me. I was trying to look it up because I know some people had moved away from Fortnite. It's like, okay. And then so I moved to Apex because they were playing like Call of Duty and some other stuff. And I don't think they weren't playing Blackout. But yeah, once Apex hit, it was like, play that. It had the ping system that was so awesome. I hardly went back. I only went back to Fortnite when they had like the John Wick, the actual John Wick skin that came out. I played that. And then I played like when the God of War skin came out. I played a couple, like a little bit here and there. But I played it recently in relative terms. Like I think this year at one point I played it with a buddy of mine. We just went in there 0 build, just like ran around, did some duos. Like it was fun. Like if I had people to play it with, just like with every other multiplayer game I want to play, like I would play it more. But yeah, I fell off when Apex hit because I liked Apex so much more. It was like, again, first person shooting, a lot more. Felt like the skill. Like I was never a builder in Fortnite. Like if they had done zero build earlier, maybe. But yeah, I was the destruction guy. They're building something. I'll destroy the base and they fall down. Before they added items that help you
ruin everything that people are trying to do.
That's right. It's like why I'm not gonna do trick 90s on this guy and be like, yo, check it. Look at me go up and build this tower. It's like I'll just destroy your base and watch you fall. But
I'm the code enforcer. I'm here to test your foundation.
Yeah, it's looking a little weak here. But yeah, a lot of good. It was funny. I was going back watching. Like I have a bunch of early Fortnite YouTube videos put up when my cousin and I won our like first victory royales in that game, and it's just like the first one we got that was just like like, you got your first win in the battle royale. It's like and just watching the tactics, like because no one built in season 0, so it's like maybe a ramp, but it's just like so funny to watch. Ramp rushing wasn't a thing. But yeah, it was just so funny. I'm looking at the way my items are set up in my inventory. I'm like, God, what am I doing? Why am I carrying 2 shotguns? Why am I, before double pump? Why did I got 2 assault rifles? Like it looks so funny. But I go back and watch and I'm like, man, this was a fun time because I have a bunch of those videos up on YouTube. But yeah, like with every multiplayer game, if I don't got people to play with, I just don't go back to them. Yeah, the person I was watching play Overwatch, they're trying to get me to play it too. They're like, you should play Overwatch with us. I'm like, I've never played it. I played team-based hero stuff, but I played X-Defiant a bunch, and that had some modes that are very similar to Overwatch. But I don't know. So I did download it since it's free to play, but I was like, I'll see if I actually play that with them. I mean, at least it's a group of people, not like and I played Concord too. That was a team-based kind of hero game. I didn't have an escort mission, but maybe I'll dip into Overwatch for the first time, and I guess it'd be fine to play. I won't know what's changed with that because I know they talked about like, oh, so-and-so's thing doesn't do this like it does now. It's the old version which had some quirks to it. So it's like, I guess that's fine to play something where I have no frame of reference, but we'll see. I don't know if I'll actually jump in there.
I mean, collab stream in the works, kind of there.
Yeah, because they were all streaming it too, but we'll see. But yeah, how did we get there? We're talking about Fortnite. Oh, because you were talking about Stardew Valley and changes, making updates, making changes. Like, how did we get in Fortnite all of a sudden?
How did we start talking about fork knife?
Yeah. But so did you? I missed it, and I'll talk. But did you actually pick up Core Keeper, or?
I did pick up Core Keeper. I just somehow bought Core Keeper and then hit start, and Stardew Valley opened up. It was really weird.
Yeah.
But that's what
weird. Might have blacked out a little bit. Should see a doctor.
Gotta wait for you to find time so we can actually play. Because I was like, I'll restart. I mean, I didn't get that far in Core Keeper. I think I maybe fought 2 bosses, but I'll restart it since there's no crossplay. It's like I'll do that on PlayStation with you, and if we can actually have time to
have you played it yet?
I played it with Zaya and Michael. That's like I only played it co-op with them, and they had previously played it, so they joined my game and I run around, did some stuff. And like I said, I beat one boss. I actually don't think I beat the second one. I ran into the second one and it got totally scary. And then there was this one big enemy that just thwomped me, and I was like, oh damn it, I gotta get back to my body now. And we're building stuff. Michael was going off just doing crazy shit because he's so familiar with the game, and Zaya's putting stuff down just
he does that anyway. Even when we very first started the game, he just picked a direction and mined in a straight line for 4 hours.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, where? Yeah. I need help here.
Just a straight line.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind, like I said, playing it again because it's always, like I said, that just fun doing those kind of building, exploring, resource games. I know it's not first person like I was talking about wanting to do earlier, like with Icarus, but it's fun. It was a fun little game. I had fun playing. I wouldn't mind playing more. It was just again finding time, for folks to.
I like games like that.
Yeah, and I think it is drop in, drop out. So it could always be like, oh, I just drop in and just play whatever you're doing. But because I haven't experienced it naturally 100% all the way through, it's like I'm kind of a little apprehensive about that because I'm like, oh well, I haven't actually done. I don't know how the progression saves when you do that. Like if it's like, hey, if I do something with you and I beat 2 bosses, it's not my world. I don't get a copy of it locally. How does the progress work there? And I think it might be instanced to your thing, but I don't. Or do I keep my upgrades?
You whatever upgrades you do to your character, you keep those. So it's like
Okay.
you make a character and you can basically take that character into any server that you would like to. As far as like
Okay.
the world progression, it's tied to the server.
Yeah.
Obviously.
So I guess
Like
that
if
could be
you,
like, yeah.
yeah, if you update or you upgrade your weapons or your skills and stuff like that, you keep all that on that character.
Yeah, and I guess if you know where things are, like, okay, I know where this item is on mine, but because I'm upgraded, I can mine faster, I can kill the enemies easier. It's like kind of just speed run back to where I'm at if I want to, like, catch up to Isli, so I can kind of play at the same time if he's not on. But again, finding time to actually co-op is the tough part.
Yeah, so you could basically have your own individual worlds and then keep your character progressions and just take those characters to each other's worlds if you wanted to.
Yeah. I played Tunic, finished Tunic. I think I started. I did talk about it last week. I was early on when we talked about it on the podcast, and then I beat it this week. I had a lot of fun with it. It was funny. So major spoilers for Tunic, obviously. So tune out if you don't want to hear Tunic out. Don't do it.
Because there's no way to talk about that game without major spoilers. So
well, there's like some things I don't need to spoil, but like there was a bit.
I mean, like if we're gonna talk about it,
yeah. Like I was like, okay, I was working towards getting all the requirements for the second, like the best ending, I guess, like the good ending, or ending B as it is in the manual. And I forgot about the seeking spell that you have. I didn't use it early on and know like it took me to this one spot which I thought like, oh, okay, this was here. I didn't realize. I thought that was like this would lead me to the actual location where all the things show up, not just like, oh, it takes you to the nearest secret spot. So I didn't realize that at first. So then like I spent like one stream just like treating that one page as a checklist. Like, okay, there's 2 in the East Forest, there's 2 in the main overworld, and I'm just like running around looking for things that look like a puzzle. And then I did that, but I'm like later I remembered, at the end of the stream I was like, oh, I have that spell, and then I did that, and I was like, damn it, I could have been saving so much time if I just used this. So then when I went back the next time, I was like, I just used that and then beat the final boss and then did that and got it done so fast. And I'm like, I wish I did that from the start. But yeah, I liked it overall. I think my favorite boss fight, and it was the underground one that you do. I thought that was the best fight design wise. I like the siege engine thing was kind of annoying because it's like I watched someone play it where they didn't do the tactic of attacking the essentially robo testicles, the power cell on it, which seemed like, okay, I should have just done that. I must have missed the gun at some point as well. Like I just totally skipped over because I didn't have it. I don't know if I would have used it that much, but yeah, like watching them play it, like they just gotta kind of like brute or get through it versus me like trying to get in the back of it. It's always jumping around. That became annoying, but that was probably just doing it to myself. But then when I watched like a speed run, and I was like, oh, they kind of just got right at it and just got it super quick and easy. Like why didn't their robot fly around and jump around like mine did?
Yeah, they do like a specific charm combination so that they can just keep staggering it.
Yeah, they like it. They have the one where it's like, oh, you have low health, you do high damage as well. And then librarian, like that's not a bad fight. It's just the problem I have with that is I don't like the grab tool. So it's like I was doing the tactic of, okay, I'll just shoot it. When it lands, I'll stab it, and then wait for it to spawn enemies to recharge my magic. Instead of like, because I wasn't buying any blueberries, and I didn't have the inverted dash charm or a perk thing. So I couldn't like just refill my mana that way. So just like waiting for, okay, come on, summon the enemies so I can kill them and get my stuff up. Or do the lightning attack and it didn't do it. It's like that kind of randomness of that fight of being like, okay, but that was a fine one. And then the final fight was just, I didn't realize it was going to be like 2 phases.
Mm-hmm.
And so like finally getting to that first one, it's like, oh, there's a phase 2, and now it's just like a super buffed up version of phase 1, and like that was tough. And then eventually I was like, I never use these decoys. Like I always used them by mistake because I kept confusing them with the hats to give me more gems, and I'd always summon the decoy. Like that's not what this does. So like I bought a bunch of decoys, and it just like made that fight stupid easy. Even on the speed run, like if I watched someone like on the librarian, you just kick out the decoy and then run back down the ladder and then just run against the ladder, and then the librarian like floats below the kill plane and just dies.
Yep.
I'm like, okay, so this is just like a super easy. It was funny though because like it distracts the final boss, but when they do that one move that like summons down the like I don't know, magic ice spikes or whatever they are, those still target you. They don't target the decoy. So I'm like attacking the dude. I'm like, oh, I don't care about that. But then it starts targeting me. I'm like, oh, I gotta run away. So that
I'm
was
so
funny.
sorry,
But
I didn't mean it.
Watching you play that, I was like, I cannot for the life of me, like you were not struggling on the boss, but like it took you a lot of tries, and I'm sitting there like, I cannot for the life of me remember why I didn't struggle on this boss at all. And I'm sitting there like, and then it clicked, and I messaged Zaya, and I was like, oh my god, it's because I found all the pages, and then I didn't actually fight the boss. So I was like, I never actually fought this boss. That's why I don't remember like everything you were doing. I'm like, I don't remember any of this. I don't remember a Souls boss, like a Souls-like boss that was like harder in this game. I truly don't remember any of this.
fake
And then
gamer.
I was mad because I did fight that boss, and I was like, that was a pain in the ass. And I was only missing 2 pages. I could have avoided it.
Yeah. Yeah, I was because I ended up finding like all the pages before I went back and defeated. But again, the decoys just made it so easy. I was like, this is like so ridiculous. I wish the parry was better. I think that's my issue. Like it's so like weird, and it also has like this really weird, like pretty big window after the swing to still count as a parry. But I'm like, I don't know. I wish that was different because I would have done like parry against the boss, but I don't want to do that thing like, okay, they shoot the icicles at you and you're like, you can parry those back, but I'm like, I'm not going to, because it's a slow parry. I don't want to learn the timing because then I'm sending a bunch of fights like, okay, trying to parry and preemptively do it because of the attack speed and be like wasting a bunch of runs trying to practice this when I'd probably just be faster to kill, which is what I ended up killing it, quicker than if I just tried to learn the parry timing. I was like, I'll just use the other tools you got here. But that double ice ranged attack combo that you could do is nice. It felt inconsistent sometime, and I wish there was like a slight delay when you're doing an input, but to be more consistent with the ice shot. But aside from that, it was like fine. I did like looking at the puzzles. I did get annoyed at so I was doing, putting all the pages together, drawing it out, doing all that yada yada. But there was one where it was also the first page 12, that's part of the maze. And it's a square. And so I put in the square, and then I do all the other pages, and it's always do the golden bits, like consistent, like that's what it is. And I look back, and I'm like, I have every other piece here. I have one that I have like kind of a question mark on, but I'm convinced that because it fits. So I'm like, this has to be right. Like the one that was annoying is looking at the picture of the door and trying to be like, okay, you can kind of see golden bits in the cracks. I'll just assume it's perfect and there's no dashes because I hate the way it looked. It's so like not perfect. But anyways, but then I go back to the square. I'm like, this doesn't fit. Like I need it to go left and I need the right side to go up. And it's just like, and eventually it's like, oh, well, the square goes around a little corner of a blue line that's part of the manual saying, hey, this goes here, this goes here. And the way it encases those, like, oh, here's the one that goes up and left, and here's the one that goes left and up, like to fit the pieces I'm missing. And that annoyed me because it was the only one that was inverted of the rule. And I was like, why would you do that? Why would you invert the rule to where everything else follows the rule you established? That's like I found there's part of that map in the Western Garden where it's like, oh, there's an arrow that points off the map. And it looks like it's just pointing at the paragraph. But then eventually when you get the dash, I go over there and there's a tree with some flowers that are clearly numbered. I'm like, okay, this is clearly a puzzle. But I couldn't figure out how to do it in the witness style of the lines initially. And then like once I forget what puzzle I solved later on, where it was like, oh, it's just hit the direction of, it's just hit up, down, left, right in the order of operated. Like, okay, go from 1, 2, 3, 4. So once I figured that, I'm like, okay, there's only a couple of those that are like that, where like it's not the line puzzle, because there's so many other puzzles in the world. Like it is the line, like, oh, bounce from this flower to that one, to this one, to that one. Like it fits. And there's only a couple, like the compass that's like, oh, translate the runes to be like north, south, east, west, and that's how you hit. Like that's unique to that one. There's the tree, and I think there's a couple others. But like it kind of bummed me out. It's like, okay, well, it's not an even split of this kind of stuff. I mean, not as bad as the square in the manual. That one pissed me off, but
You want to know which one pissed me off watching you play?
which one?
You were doing page 9, which is where you have the like loading a different save file. So you like exit out your game and you see the different save file, and you're like, what is this? can I load this? What is this? And then you go back to your main game. And I'm like,
Well, 'cause
why wouldn't you click on it? Well, hold on. So then you go back to that one and you eventually load into it and you start running through it and you're like, oh, this is the golden line. You're like, I should write this down. This is going to be important later. And then immediately after you loaded that, like that path and you're like, oh, this is a golden line. This is going to be important later. You start working on the whole golden puzzle or golden path or whatever it's called, like the main big door puzzle. And you get to page 9 and you're like sitting there and you're like, where's the golden line on it? And it was like you were looking at this right after you had just loaded the other save file. And I wanted to be like, look what the page says to do. The page shows you loading a save file. Look what the page says to do. You were just there 30 seconds ago and you just said, hey, you were like, you literally just had said, this is going to be important later. I should load this. And then you start looking at that page and you're like, where's the golden path? And I wanted to be like, dude, you were like, you just found the solution to this 30 seconds ago.
Well, to be fair,
just acknowledged it was going to be important.
It wasn't that close together. I was still looking for the fairies.
Oh my god, no, it was that close. It was like immediately after. I was dying.
Because I still had to find all the fairies. I don't think it was part of the book thing. I'll have to go back and look at the VOD when I post it.
It was right after. There was like your brain just didn't connect to dots, and I was just like, dude, you're good at puzzles, so like you acknowledged immediately that it was important, but you were so focused on like searching the page for the like little golden box and stuff that like you didn't see that the page said like load the save file. And it was probably only like 2 minutes that you were looking at this. Like it probably wasn't really that long, but I just wanted to like scream at you through the monitor and be like, dude, you were literally just looking at this piece.
If you had watched me do that puzzle, you would have come to my home and violently shook me.
Yeah,
that was the only one where I was like, come on, man, you're killing me.
Again, it was one of those situations where like it was so different that I was thinking of like Doki Doki Literature Club, like, oh, maybe spoilers to the game, like maybe I'm supposed to delete the save file and then something happens, not load it up. That's why I didn't load it up immediately. I was like, oh, it must be one of these situations. And I think I have to go back and I could have swore like the reason I didn't, because I put in the code immediately after I left the page because I thought it was going to be, oh, here is like you just do this out in the overworld. I got to go back and like find it.
I mean, you got it really quickly, to be clear. Like it wasn't like you struggled on this for a long while. It was just driving me nuts because you had done this, like it was right after. And like watching it already knowing the solution and seeing someone piece it together and just having someone like it was one of those things where you were so close to figuring out the solution immediately that it annoyed me that it took like a normal amount of time because you were like right there.
Okay, yeah, because I'm watching it here where I load up after the thing. Okay, so I had just finished finding all the things and I went back to the start. And then I look at like, okay, the numbers, and then I'm like, okay, 12, and then whatever, and then 9. But I was so like, I got so mind flooded about Doki Doki Literature Club, like, oh, maybe I have to like load and delete and then go back. But then it came back. I'm like, okay, then go in, and then I tried hitting it, not thinking that, oh, this is the gold line, because everything else on the pages are pretty much it's the only one that's like not, you know, what it's supposed to be. And then aside from the square from page 12, it's like page 12 and 9, which are essentially like two of the most important, are like just really entirely different. Yeah, because I didn't even start drawing it yet. I was just looking at the pages.
Yeah.
Because I draw minutes later. Yeah, I'm looking at here. But anyways, yeah. Yeah,
that was the only one. 12 is the like sunset background one, right?
No, 12 is the square, the one that's the square covering the brackets. The sunset background one, that was one of the upper right corners of the page.
That one annoyed me for obvious reasons.
That one annoyed, it annoyed me a bit too because it was like the sunset wasn't really golden. Like, okay, it's supposed to be golden hour, but it's like it wasn't colored enough or taking up enough space to really look like, oh, it's this. And that one did kind of bug me a bit. I'm trying to like scrub through and look at
that. Was one of the pages I had to look up the solution to, because the colors that they use are also like it's basically like blue yellow in that one, which is exactly what I can't see. So I looked up the solution to that one. I didn't even feel bad afterwards when someone explained what it was. I was like, yeah, I would have never gotten this.
Yeah, and I brute forced the broken golden door, so I feel like that kind of makes up for number 9.
That makes up for your.
Well, because I was like, I don't want to run.
Does that make up for it, or yeah?
Yes, because I hated, like, that's why I was mad that I forgot about the seek spell, because I'm like, I could have saved so much damn stream time if I didn't just waste it, because I would go in the stream, take a couple attempts at the boss, and then run around and look for stuff in the environment that looked like a puzzle.
Yeah,
and I'm like, okay, but I had a spell there that made it so much easier that I forgot about. So I wasted like 2 nights essentially just of boss attempts and then running around the open world looking for puzzles. And I found some. Like, it's not like I didn't make progress. It's just like, it was annoying that I'm like, I could have probably done this in 1 night. But then I was like, I found, because I said early on, like, I should probably take pictures of these broken door pieces, or like gates or whatever. And then eventually it's like, I started doing like, okay, let's take the pictures. And then when I was in the forest looking for something, I found the door. I'm like, oh, this is where the base of the broken door is. Okay, well, I have some of the pictures, but I missed the other one because you never have to go back to the swamp for anything. And it's on the way down there. Because I looked up later to be like, where is it? And it also is a bigger piece than I thought. So I kind of like did, okay, what if we just go up, left, up? Because I could tell it's spaced. Okay, what if we go up, left, up, right, up, left, up? And it's like, okay, that I think is eventually how it ended up working. But it's like I don't want to run around and look for it because I can't use the seek spell on a broken piece of gate. Essentially, it's like I just have to find it. I'm like, I don't want to do that. Like, I'm not wasting my time running around the overworld looking for another broken piece. I should have just been taking screenshots of me. That's why I brute forced it. That piece was much bigger than I anticipated. They had much tighter turns than I thought they would. But I managed.
It's always the one that you're missing that has like the twist in it.
Way too much information.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like if I had missed the other one, that would have been fine. But like that one was definitely like, all right, it's not the piece to miss. Because they are. It's funny because like some of them are on the map. Like the one broken piece it's on the map near the bell tower. But I wonder if it's on the. I can't see the swamp. I'm like trying to click through like I can see the freaking swamp in my VOD. It might be on the map towards the swamp. Like maybe I could have seen it there. But yeah, it's like anyways. It was a fun game otherwise. Like I like the puzzle. We suddenly became the witness. Like that was fine. That was good times. And then I'm just trying to think did I take any other notes on this game? It's fun watching someone else play it now. I've been watching their streams and let's see. Nope, no notes on the other game. But other than that, yeah, it was fun. Like I liked writing all the pieces. I mean, probably would have saved time if I just identified them. Like look at the page and be like, okay, here it is. Instead of writing out, just look up a picture. But like taking that time, like, okay, page 12, go here. Page 16, whatever, page 22. And like drawing it out, like I probably could just save time if I just go acknowledge it and then just look up a picture.
I liked I had fun trying to like draw out that path and figure it all out. I thought that was a cool part of the
it was fun. I just don't think it was like probably not to watch on stream. Like when I was brute forcing that door, like someone came into the stream and they asked a question which I thought was weird. It was like favorite and least favorite indie or something like that. But I missed it because my screen was covered with screenshots of the broken door. So I didn't realize they typed in chat and then later their other message and they must not have been a bot because then they said, is chat not working? And so that wasn't bot response. And then they were gone. I was like, oh, I missed it. I'm sorry.
To be fair, I think that person asked that question and then dipped like 30 seconds later.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
I don't think it was like a long thing. I think it was like no immediate response. This person hates me.
For sure. But
I will go
try
on
not
to a different streamer.
I try not to ignore people when they chat, even if they ask a question or say something as a follow-up that looks like bot behavior. Yeah. I'll still engage until I've confirmed to myself that, like I hovered over their name after the fact. I'm like, they had an old account. So I'm like, okay, it's probably not a bot. But yeah, I'll still like engage and be like, okay, let's just assume they're not a bot. Cause like some of the followers I have and chatters I've had are like, they have no accounts, but some's like, cause I know this person, so they made a new account, yada, yada. So like it says I had to take off my, my mod tools because they couldn't follow me because their account was too new. They're like, I can't follow you. I'm like, oh, I put it at, because I have it like you have to be verified. But I was like, oh, I didn't you're not old enough. let me take that off for a bit, so at least you can follow, and then I'll click it back on.
You have to be at least this tall to follow my stream.
That's right. Man, so after I beat it, I think it must have been after I beat it. Like I went to throw I talked about it in Discord, but I went to go throw to someone who was playing Tunic, and they had like, two people, maybe one person watching them at the time. One of their their subs or something like that. And so I threw to it, and like, cause there's like 4 of us in the thing. It was me and 3 others or whatever. So I'm like, okay, let's go raid this person. And like I go raid, and it's like JCM raided with a party of 1. And even though it pulled in my friend and someone else, I guess the 4th person might have been on mobile, because I think if you watch it through mobile, not in the app, it won't pull you in. So it, like, for some reason it didn't pull it in properly. So I just looked like a crazy person announcing myself, like, "Yo, look at me."
I'm here now.
Was the person just like, "Geez, thanks, man.
No,
thanks for the one
said,
person."
Hey, they said, "Hey, thanks for the raid." But then luckily my friend's like, "Why did it say 1?" And then and then they're like, I was like, "Yeah," and then, like, but I got like so like socially awkward immediately, and because I did it through OBS, which is typically how, because I've raided through OBS before, and I've seen that happen where like I have a couple people, but it says like a party of 2 or 3, and I was like, why does it do that? And I looked it up, and I guess there are some issues where, like, because I think some people have to, I don't know if they have to opt in, because I typically don't opt into raids. I just stay on the stream, and when it goes over, it pulls me. But I guess it doesn't always do that. And if you do the raid via Stream Manager, or just on, if you watch your own channel and that's how you do it, you can see the count. It says like, you'll be raiding with this many viewers, but it doesn't say that in OBS, I don't think, because I didn't notice it. So I'm like, oh, I wish I saw that. Then I would have not done anything. Like, oh, for some reason something's wrong, because I'm like, you're making me not want to raid ever again, because I don't want to. Luckily, when I raided the last night, it worked. I'm like, okay, good. I don't want to look like a psycho. But
that's weird. I've never raided through OBS. I've always just done it through the Stream Manager. I usually have the Stream Manager up on the other monitor, but
that's what's annoying too about OBS. Like, I also, when I raid through Stream, because I tried also through Stream Manager as well, and like, because you're managing your stream, it doesn't flip yourself over to their stream. Like, you don't follow it. But if I do it from my actual Twitch page, like my Twitch stream itself, like I'm just watching it like a normal viewer, and put it in that chat, then I get pulled. It's like so weird. Like I'm in it, I just can't see it, if that makes sense. Like, it just says, "Oh, your stream's offline," but I can still chat in their chat. I just don't visually see the stream, which is really annoying. It's like, so I have to make sure, like, okay, get out of Stream Manager, just go to my page. That way, when it kicks off, I can see what they're doing, yada, yada. So it's like, it's really weird. I wish it would, I don't know a better way to do it, but just be like, hey, if I'm raiding, just close Stream Manager and just take me to their channel or something. I don't know. But so yeah, there was that awkward moment. But anyway, I don't have any other notes. Like I said, Tunic, good game. A hell of fun, and it's going to be fun watching this person play it. They actually they made a lot of progress. They beat they had like 3 bosses. They didn't do any of the bosses, but they made it to get the 3 bosses ready, and then they just like did a boss rush the other night and managed to kill them all. They had like 25 firecrackers. So I'm like, you've got so many firecrackers. I'm like, yeah, I never use them. It was funny. And then they got all the stuff, and then it must have taken them a while to figure out what to do after they put in all the gems, because then they're like, they just ran around like everywhere. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna come back after my stream and see what progress they made. Luckily, they did make it, but they said it took them a long time. It was funny. They also forgot where you had to put the stuff, because I don't think they said like they never ran through the golden door, because they thought that was like a later game thing. So they never went inside to see what was in there. And they didn't have the pages, of course, that said like, hey, this, clearly you need these for this, and it goes here. So that was really funny. They're like, where do I put these? But yeah.
I've got these Jolly Ranchers, but I don't know who wants them.
Yep. But anyways. And yeah, I don't know what to play after the fact, so I just started playing Subnautica hardcore and streaming that because it's easy. And it's like plus I finished Arcane Act 2 of Season 2, and I'm like, I need like a comfort thing to play. So
is Act 2 out now? I need to watch Act 2. I didn't realize that came. When does Act 3 come out? That's
next weekend.
Cool.
Yeah.
I've been rewatching Arcane. Great show.
But yeah, all the reactors should rewatch the show before they do a second season. Do it, because like it's so annoying when they're like, And it's so weird talking about picking up on things. Like, there's so many people who will miss things or forget things. Like, why does Jinx move that fast? I'm like, do you not remember season 1? Like, why does or like they'll be like, how? I mean, there's something where like they're like, you haven't watched it, so I can't say it, but like, there's I watched some. There's like a scene where it's not a spoiler, but like there's a scene where like there's an animation of a character like. It hints at something, and then you see a character put something in their pocket. So it's like clearly like, oh, it's not focused on that character. But if you notice it, it's a detail like, oh, they pocketed this thing that loops back around later. So it's like it's a nice little detail, and like people will catch that. But like they miss details of like some other stuff. I'm like, the final scene of season 1 has this big thing that happens that should lead to some speculation, and they even reinforce it in the opening of season 2, and I'm like, clearly there's more here. Why is no one picking up on this? And like none of the reactors pick up on it. So they're just like, how? You know, all these things. I'm like, it clearly was a hint. And then luckily, well, anyways, but it's just like people still just miss it. I'm like, do you not remember this? That's why you should rewatch. Like,
I could be such a great rage bait react person because when we were watching Andor, I was missing conversations and like things that were happening in the middle of the screen because I was watching the characters in the back, and Michael's like, did you remember this happened? I was like, oh no, I was thinking about how cool her jacket was, the lady that walked by in the back. I was like, I really want that jacket.
yeah it's just like, it's so funny, like details they pick up on, and then they
it's funny too seeing like who is noticing what depending on where you're looking on the screen. Like, I can't believe you didn't notice that it was right in the middle of the screen. I was like, oh well, I was watching the thing in the background. I don't know, there was stuff happening back there.
God, I want to talk about it too, because like it's the opening scene and then of season 2, so it's like it's only a spoiler if people can't watch it for like months or right now or not, but it's like there's been so many pieces of arc out there.
We can do an Arcane spoiler cast after the end of all of this,
maybe, but man, because
the biggest thing I've struggled with Arcane is I can't remember shit about League of Legends, and every new character they introduce, well, I know, but like every character they introduce, I'm always like trying to remember, like, is this someone I should know? Is this someone I should remember? Is this like someone big and important? And it's less, I know it's not really the most critical. It's more of just, I cannot remember anything about League of Legends.
Yeah, I'm glad I never played, because there's some stuff, like some stuff happens in season 2, and I'm like, I'm sure for the people who know it and the lore, like, oh, it's, you know, person or place or thing, people, TV, camera, but it's like, because I have no reference, it's just like, it's new to me. I don't have that, oh, they're doing this thing, you know, because it's so and so. It's like to me, I'm like, what the hell is happening? Okay, clearly a faction or this or something like that. Like, I don't have that, so it's nice to see it from that side. Kind of like where, well, anyway, I won't go on that, but yeah, it's like, I'm glad I don't, because then I don't know. Yeah, obviously there are characters who are specific to Arcane who aren't in League, but it's like other background stuff and world building things that I don't know. It's like, I'm glad I don't know, because I don't have to like, oh, they're doing this, they're bringing in this thing. It's like, oh, you know, I don't have the burden of knowledge. But anyway, yeah, good show. Make sure you watch it. But now I gotta wait freaking till next week, just like everybody else. Everyone's suffering.
It's good that it's good enough though that waiting is driving you crazy.
I mean, that's how it was for the first season for people. Luckily, I didn't start watching Arcane the first season until after Act 2 came out, so I only had to wait for Act 3 with everybody else. But like they end on, I wouldn't call them cliffhangers, but like spicy notes in the story.
Yes.
So it's like they do that again, and it's like waiting for, but it does make that wait so good, especially because it's only a week and it's 3 episodes at a time. It's like, obviously watching it, I didn't have to wait after Act 1 of Season 1. I just jumped right into that. But I could see, like, if anybody was to do a first watch of this outside, maybe like do like take a day off. So because there's like a bit where, you know, like in Season 1, there's like a time jump from Act 1 to Act 2. Yeah. And you only wait a week, but at least waiting that week reinforces that time jump. And there's like
the time jump in Act 1 to 2 is not a week in Season 1.
I know it's not a week, but because you're waiting, it reinforces the time. It reinforces how much time it has. Like there's another, you know, mini time jump here where it's not that long, but because the viewers had to wait a week, like you can kind of get behind versus like watching the end of episode 3 jump right into 4. It's like, okay, there's a big jump all of a sudden. It's like, it's not like it pulls you out of it, but waiting as a viewer kind of helps, like, oh, time has passed, yada, yada. So, but yeah, it's like, because there's like, well, I can't say anything without.
You just can't talk about it at all.
It just there are things where, like, because you have to wait, it does make it feel like things are longer than maybe they are, I suppose. It just, like I said, it's like a real world, we're not waiting as many years has passed for the next one to come out that way. We're not that one movie, Boyhood or whatever it was, where it's like filmed over multiple years to actually have the same actors. It's like, it's not that kind of thing. Only watch the parts, and now you have to wait another year to watch the next scene. You got to grow up with the kid. But
I mean, that's basically what they're doing with the Final Fantasy VII remake.
Yeah.
So.
God. Yeah, and how well is that working out?
Yeah. Anyway. But all right, that's all I got note-wise. Like I said, I got to figure out what else to play now. Maybe I will look at Icarus and just play that as a PvE game. That could be fun. But
you could get really into Final Fantasy 14/11 again.
Nope.
It'll take you a while to get up to that raid. But
if I get
pretty quick.
If I get affiliate, I'll do it as like a sub goal, as a joke. Like, 10 subs, and I dedicate 2 days a week to jumping back into FF14 or something like that. And then it'll be like a joke goal, and then lo and behold, Zai behind the scenes like, yo guys, you gotta make this dude play.
I was gonna say, I know 10 people who have Twitch accounts.
Yeah, just prime sub so we pass to play 14. Like, it's like
the ultimate troll move.
It's like if it pushes the goal, like if it gets the goal, it's like, hey, and like if people, but it'd be one of those things, like I wouldn't be opposed to doing that, at least if it's only a couple days, like dedicated to it. Like, cause I've seen some other streamers, they play, there's I forget what the RP or the MMO they're playing is. It's a relatively newer one, but they like play that, and then they also play like Red Dead Redemption 2, and they kind of like alternate between both of them. So I could see like, okay, maybe if the viewership was there, like obviously, but I just don't want to play if it's like, okay, I'll just play it and yada yada. But I mean, we'll see. Who knows? I feel it's a long way off. I gotta get those followers up. But yeah. Anyway, go ahead and call it there. Went on a little longer than I was expecting. I think a lot of that talk about Final Fantasy 11.
We did talk a lot about the Vana'diel raid.
Yeah, and just reminiscing about the Bicky Bay and all that stuff. But anyways, yeah, we'll wrap it up there. So thank you for all tuning in. Thank you, Isli. Thank you, Zai, for joining.
Yep.
And we'll see you all next time.
Later.
Bye.